Hello and welcome to another Here's the Storm Quick Tip. Today I wanted to talk about Two-Man Spire Queen and why it is typically better to hold off until you have a double turn in instead of just turning in when you have a slight advantage. The first turn in general is hard to get a lot of value out of unless you have an edge somewhere, whether that be talents or you get a pick. So if you get a pick when you're turning in, that's okay because then you can usually push harder than you normally would be able to, and they have less wave clear depending on who died, and it'll give you a much higher chance of gaining a fort or forcing the enemy team to spread so thin you get massive siege damage in all three lanes. And so that's what happens here. As you can see, I get caught and I get picked off, and what that does is it ruins my team's ability to really prevent them from just pushing this in. And so what you'll see is they'll quickly tear this down, even though they don't have the most siege damage particularly. They do it pretty easily. And what happens is they also get very little mid because Nazio is there the whole time, and they get most of bot because Imperius is not really somebody who can stop, spiders. Or any real, like, camps, minions. Basically, he's just trash at clearing waves or camps or anything besides heroes. If you can't stab it, Imperius is bad at it. My point, though, is, as you can see, they got a fort, and they're ahead of us in XP. If, perchance, instead of being at 44 gems, they had 55, this means we can't really contest turn-in. Outside of Tyrande, we have very few safe ways of doing it. I can huck a snowball at them or something, but really not much else. That doesn't put us at risk, especially against this comp, because if Muradin lands a sledgehammer, they have plenty of follow-up and can kill us. And so what would happen now is they'd be able to turn, this wave would be cleared, so it would end up back here somewhere. But essentially, these two forts would be forfeited 100% of the time, and they can look for more because, again, we can't step up in the early part. But instead, because they turned earlier, and again, the only reason they got top fort, at least in my opinion, is because I died. So I think we lose wall and well, and we still keep this for about half health otherwise. So because of that delay, we now get to 10s. They no longer have a major edge on us. And so we can essentially give a turn-in at this point. You'll notice we're fighting and all that, but I mean, my point is, the next turn-in isn't for another, minute now, minute and a half. Whereas, if they had waited on their, to get to, 55 gems, so 105 total, they would have had a really good shot at already killing all of our forts and being about a level and a half in the lead, possibly 2, and even having some keep damage. And it also makes, we can soak 2 lanes pretty safely, but the third lane is a lot riskier depending on how they want to position against us. So that's why I really like getting double turn-ins. The other reason is because it reduces the chances of getting caught out with a ton of gems. The longer you have to hold them, the more you collect, the more susceptible you are to getting targeted, especially if you're the tank or solo laner and you have the most gems. And so what you may see, depending on what happens here, is, our solo laner tries to dump off their gems, and instead we lose 42 gems. So that's the other reason to wait for a double turn-in if you can help it. Essentially, you cash out everyone, and so even if you die in one of the following fights, you're not hurt economy-wise nearly as much as you are. Instead, we lose almost a full turn-in because of that, and it sets us back considerably, because we wanted to do a double turn-in to make up for our XP disadvantage, and now we can't. So just something to keep in mind when you are going for this map. You don't want the first turn-in necessarily. You don't want the quickest turn-in. You want to turn in when you can get something off it. Whether that be because you have a pusher like Sylvanas or Zarya, or because you have a talent tier advantage, or because, again, you can do double turn-ins, which puts a lot of strain on the enemy to keep up in every lane. All right. Again, have a great day, and I hope that helps.